Hey guys, this is KinoDVT here, and I will be commentating on a game I found on the StarCast forums. Now, this game is between Nerd Rage and Solidus, which I am almost certain that I am pronouncing wrong. Nerd Rage being the Protoss, and Solidus being the Terren. Now, the Terren is, to quote Day9, the Day9 viewership person. I can't remember what he calls it. I haven't watched him in a while. Basically, he's the guy who this video replays from. Now, I know Ragoska has done a version of this game, but the reason I wanted to watch it / shoutcast it is because it's an anti-4-gate strategy. Now, while I'm sure his strategy is very, very good, don't know, haven't seen it yet, can't comment, the new maps do make 4-gating slightly harder. If you'll notice that these two players have to walk a long way if you follow my mouse. Just bang. That's a very long distance to walk units. Now, there's a disadvantage to this. If it's a 4-gate with a warp in, there's so many places to hide a pylon. It's annoying. But the new maps, most of which are 4-player maps, do allow for slightly better rush defense. Now, Terren also do have an advantage against 4-gates, which the other races don't. 4-gates will contain some amount of zealots. Zealots in a choke, not good. Zealots in a choke behind a wall, even worse. So, they do have an advantage over, say, Zerg or Protoss. But we'll see what happens. 4-gates can be held off with a bunker here, some Marauders, Marines. 4-gates are becoming less and less powerful because people know how to defend them more and people are using them less. So we'll just see what happens. Nerd Rage is getting into the Terren's base. Sorry, cannot pronounce your name. Probably gonna try and hide a proxy pylon in here. Oh good, just a misclick. He is putting down a gateway and already has gas, has enough for a cybernetics core as soon as spawn. And are we going to see a cyber core? Yeah, cybernetics core production, my bad. Let's see. Income? Sure, why not? Income, it's really not that useful, is it? Army supply? Yeah, we'll watch that. No, we won't. It's annoying. It's in the way. God, what is it? I really can't remember. There's a hotkey to hide the UI, but I can't remember it, and to be honest, I really don't care. So, first off, we see him getting a 1-1-1 build. It might not be 1-1-1, but it's a barracks factory, so I don't know what you'd call that. Now, we do see the proxy pylon coming in here. Quick thing. If he had held both towers with a Marine and an SCV, or 2 SCVs, he might being the operative word, if he's watching his minimap, which he should be, well, that's a lie. You always should be watching your minimap, but I understand that it's very, very difficult and sometimes you can't. I have that problem a lot. And it's the biggest thing I beat myself up about. I go, I need to be watching the minimap, I need to be watching the minimap, I need to be watching the minimap, etc, etc, etc. So, having two workers, or a worker and a Marine, would have allowed him to spot this worker and probably guess what it was doing. So, slight disadvantage there, but nevertheless, I think he'll be alright. Here's the point where the fast 4-gate, the fastest 4-gate, comes into play. This is the fastest possible Korean 4-gate. You get no army up until this point, at which point in about 5 seconds you warp in 4 stalkers and push. So if that's the kind of 4-gate he's going to try and beat, you're not being very effective. Now, he is going to get a Thor, which is going to be very, very useful for a Thor to defend against a 4-gate push. So we'll see how this goes. But an early game Thor is kind of like an early game anything really. They're just annoying. He is getting a starport now, probably for some drops, not exactly sure. He does have 4 gateways, and he should be warping in from them shortly. He does have the population and the resources to warp in 4 units at the same time, and at the moment, to be honest, Terren is screwed. Unless something changes drastically, very, very quickly, Terren is screwed. Now, if he was to, say, push with 4 Stalkers right now and a Zealot, he would win. It'd be close, but he would win. 4 Stalkers that were target firing Marines would win. The Thor is still a minute of in-game time away, so a little bit of trouble. The Protoss has not been managing his population very well, which, to be honest, is going to cost him the game. He could have warped in 3 more Stalkers and pushed right then, and won, pretty much. Or he could have warped in some Zealots for some more cannon fodder. Why are you warping in more Zealots? You need range. You need range versus a wall. That's not something I particularly approve of. He's got a nice amount of cannon fodder, but only 3 units that can attack these Marines behind the wall, which means he's kind of screwed. The other thing is he needs to hurry the hell up, because in about 10 seconds he will lose. So I do like this strategy from Solidas, but it's very dependent on one thing. It's very dependent on this Thor. Before this Thor he was kind of boned. With the Thor, he does alright. It would still be beatable, it just makes their life harder. He is repairing the Thor, but a little bit of focus firing and some SCVs would die, but to be honest, Nerd Rage just needs to get the hell out of there, and he's not. That was a bit of a stupid Zealot spawn. I don't actually know what league these guys are in. It'd be nice to know. I would suggest silver, bronze or gold, maybe one of those leagues, not sure. The Protoss does not exactly have a great vote of confidence for me as a player. He's made a few key mistakes, and he's trying to push a 4-gate, and to be honest, he's not pushing a 4-gate very effectively. He's pushing a fairly weak 4-gate. He hasn't got a second gas yet, he's not at full income, and he hasn't been producing, and he's still got a lot of chrono boost. Now these are problems that a lot of players will have, but these are problems that every player needs to fix. Now Terren is still lagging a little behind on the worker count, but bear in mind there are a fair amount of workers up here, and Terren get a little bit of grace because they have mutants, which account for a couple of workers. He does now have 2 Thors. To be honest, this is the point where I start to realise how unskilled Nerd Rage is. Nerd Rage is keeping on trying to push the same thing versus a Thor, and 2 Thors now. So it's not working for him, and he needs to change. He needs to throw down a robotics facility, get 1 Immortal, and then a Thor versus Immortal with a couple of Zealots, you're fine. Instead, he just kept on trying to push the same thing against a Thor. And, I mean, you see this Thor, it's got 25 kills, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Solidas? Kudos. Good strategy, I rather like it. I may try it at some point. Early mech is kind of evil. Let's be honest. It's not nice. But I don't know, it's you won and you're doing the right thing, but there's a few problems with the strategy. You're a little weak early on. If someone pushed with, say, 4 or 5 Stalkers before you had a Thor, you would be in a bit of trouble. A bit, putting it nicely. You would be in a lot of trouble. You would be dead trouble. But you do get a healthy amount of Marines, which will allow you to hold off some pushes. Not all. Some pushes are better than that, but not all pushes are gonna beat. And this is a good strategy. If it gets to the point like it did with Nerd Rage, you will always win. It's just how it's gonna happen, because they're gonna keep trying to push a 4-gate against you, because that's what wins them games. When in reality, it really doesn't do that much for them. Now, if he was to, say, had 2 Immortals at this point, you would have traded back, and then I'm really not sure what you would have done. But at the moment, you're doing the right thing, and he's not, which is always the best place to be on the ladder match. This is KenoDBT, and I'm really surprised he hasn't left yet. To be honest, a bit of a dick move to call GG and not leave, but hey, what the hell. This is KenoDBT. Sorry about the complete lack of shoutcast recently. I was towards the end of my school term. It is now over. I am on holidays. Yippee. And there will be a lot more videos forthcoming. I have a LOL video planned coming for you guys. Maybe some Portal 2 when I get it. Not exactly sure when I will be getting it. It's on my list, but I'm poor as shite. There's also a WoW video in the works, but I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to play that. So, it's KenoDVT. I'll see you next time.